So there was a comment from the CEO of Nexon in the capital market briefing where he says that the First Descendant had a strong launch, but not staying power.
Now, I haven't watched the live stream. You did. I didn't. But you kind of briefed me on what, in the gist of what they were saying. And obviously they wanted to acknowledge this because the CEO is saying that there's no staying power. They've lost a huge amount of their player base, and that's not everything, but the numbers have gotten seriously small. And to have a game that they want to keep going for a long period of time, you do have to have some numbers. You have to have some, at least. And those numbers are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So I think what you said, that this stream kind of covers some of the decisions they had and why they haven't done things, and what their plan is for the future, or like it's like in phases or something.
Yeah, the beginning of the live stream, they communicated how it was so important to them to talk to the community, address the concerns, and basically be more transparent, future plans, what they were working on, etc. This was basically an emergency live stream that dev team had to do after the comment from the CEO. And it's a confirmation. The game is struggling, have been struggling for a while. It's not just our opinion anymore. The dev team itself recognized this, and they talk about the issues and what they can do in the near future to address these issues.
We've made at least one, maybe two different videos about this, and I know people get super butthurt about it or whatever, but it's happening. I mean, it's happening now. We thought it was going to happen like a year and a half ago, and it's kind of happening now. So I guess I'd be curious because I said I didn't really watch it. What are their concerns right now? Like some of their main concerns right now for the game?
They recognize there wasn't enough content, specifically for the end game loop. And they talk about keeping the players engaged. They didn't say it with these words, but it made it sound that they know their game loop is a bit boring and not engaging enough to keep the player base farming, basically.
I mean, yeah, let's face it. The game isn't... I don't know Warframe because I don't play it. I know Destiny a little bit, and the PvP kept me in there. I'm not saying that this game needs PvP, but I'm saying the PvP was a large part as to why we have over 1,000 hours in Destiny. But they also had these big expansions that you could buy and whatnot. The First Descendant doesn't really do that. And I'm pretty sure Warframe does these big expansion thingies too, right? I think they don't do that. Their story is horrible, in my opinion, and it's just not... I'm not interested in it. So adding these expansions probably would be difficult, considering you have the most boring story in the entire world. And the game has an end right now. It does. It's not an infinite thing that can go on for years and years and years, because for a new player, I think you said that they're concerned that it's a little overwhelming for them. Yeah, probably, because there's been a lot of things added into the game, system over system over system over system, like the cores for the weapons, and they're just adding more and more and more module systems. It's annoying, and it's cheap and quick, I think, but you have a lot to do. For a new player, there's a lot to do, and it's fun, and you probably got hundreds of hours that you can get out of the game, but then you reach the end, and it's just this same horrible, boring loop that doesn't even feel like it's rewarding. I mean, let's face it, the Hive Master didn't feel that great. The E-Buster didn't feel that great. The swords, I don't care about. The only one that I even care about at all is the Hypernova. The new Crime and Punishment's okay, but I mean, it's just... Unless you really want to grind for those weapons, a lot of these updates haven't been that great. The Sharon thing wasn't amazing. Right now, it does feel like there is an end for the game. It can't just keep going.
Every single dungeon they give us is just basically a 400% with buffer enemies. The style is the same, the mechanics are the same, it's the same content that we are getting in every single update. So I understand players don't feel like dealing with it. They don't want to come back because it's boring. It's basically the same thing 2.0. And I have been complaining about that for months now. They specifically called this long-term plan roadmap completing the game. And they divided this in 3 different phases. Phase 1, that supposedly is underway already, that one they want to fix the core. They specifically said the gameplay core. So the farming loop, the in-game structure, and the rewards you get through farming. And they want to complete this phase 1 by Season 4 summer. So the moment the Season 4 update drops, technically this phase 1 should be implemented right in the game.
These last few dungeons they've given us, have been 5-minute dungeons, less than 5-minute dungeons, but around the same. And yeah, you got the boss at the end, but man, like all those, there's been like three of them. Three of them that have been added into the game in the last few months have all been the same virtually. With this newest one, the boss was a little bit different, but that's got to be different. I don't know. That's got to be different, or maybe you grind it differently. I don't know, but man, yeah, I don't know how they're gonna do that.
The phase 2 is specifically for newer players. They specifically talk about improving the main story. I don't know if they're going to change it too much. And the early dungeon missions you do in the game, with the hopes that new players will have fun and stick around.
No, but I think new players will stick around. I think if they can fix once you beat the big bulk of the game and like get all the stuff you want, I think players will stay engaged for quite a while. I think there's probably hundreds of hours in the game, starting from zero, that a new player can enjoy. So the game offers a lot. I mean, for being a free-to-play game, it offers a lot of content and fun, but that's not what they want. They don't want you to play for a few hundred hours and then be done with the game. They want you to continue to play it year after year after year, month after month after month. That's the problem they're having. So yeah, making it more accessible for a new player because there's a lot more content in the game now from when it first released. Of course, it's a fine idea, but I don't think that's their big problem. Yeah, it's a little overwhelming, but I don't think that's their big problem. I think their big problem is, again, the staying power. Once you get past that initial getting through the whole story and then doing some grind, that's where they need to fix the game, I think.
And the final phase, the phase 3 of this long-term roadmap, they mention how once the foundation was solid enough, they wanted to deliver what the First Descendant was supposed to be from the start. And again, they didn't really elaborate. I don't know what vision they had. I don't remember them sharing that with us in the past. I don't know what exactly they want to be. I assume they wanted to be like a Destiny 2 Warframe type of game. But now I'm not totally sure because they keep mentioning how they wanted to go back to the originals.
I have no idea what that means either. I just think that we probably have already talked about it a little bit. We talked in the early part about for new players already, but I just, these little monthly, not little, but medium-sized monthly updates just isn't gonna cut it. I think that they need to, I mean, even if we don't get anything for a few months, then something huge that's gonna take that for the next few months before they can dish out another big batch of content. I would prefer something that way instead of just these little reworks, because again, if it wasn't for trying to fix all these Descendants, there just doesn't feel like there'd be much in here. A weapon that sucks and
yeah,
a dungeon that takes 5 minutes. I mean, I don't know. There just wouldn't be a lot.
After all this, they move into the new content we are going to be getting soon, specifically the Onslaught mode. This mode is going to be in beta for this month of April and full release supposedly for the next month of May. They didn't really show gameplay. They said they were not ready for this in this live stream, but they talk about how supposedly you can enhance your character abilities throughout this new mode, and you can use turrets. They even show a picture of these turrets. And they also mentioned that this mode have 10 rounds. Every 3 rounds, supposedly you can like move or teleport to a new area. And the last round will be a battle against a Colossus in the Void.
Honestly, it could be super awesome. It could be the best thing the game has ever seen. I don't believe it. I mean, they have just proved to me that I think it's going to be underwhelming and this just samey. It's going to be super samey as what we've already gotten. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's super cool. But they haven't instilled that confidence in me. I don't have the confidence in them right now that it will be great. But maybe it will be. So I don't know.
They basically wanted to tell us that there's a new mode in the Intercept Battle that is called Extreme Difficulty. At the beginning, I wasn't super happy about it because it felt like just going to be another difficulty to the difficulty to the difficulty. We literally have Intercept Battle Regular, normal. We have the hard mode. Then they have the Abyss Colossus version and then the challenge. And now we have Extreme on top of that.
This is
But
ridiculous, dude.
yeah,
They're taking the page out of Fat Shark. When in doubt, add a difficulty, please. I'm so
yeah,
bored already.
yeah. I was really upset about the improvements in the Intercept battle, but then in the Q&A later, they elaborated a little bit more about this new extreme difficulty, and they said that the players basically be able to select buffs to enhance the bosses, so the Colossus abilities, and penalties to yourself during this battle. And it's going to have a leaderboard and see who will have the best or the highest risk level, blah, blah. I'm not super excited, but it feels like they're trying to innovate a tiny bit in the Intercept battle mode.
Why would I want to choose their buff and my debuff?
Because
Shouldn't it be the other way around? Let me choose a buff.
supposedly if you beat it and you're the best player out there, you will be number one on the leaderboards.
No, it would be way more fun if I could choose a buff to myself.
Well, I don't know that is possible. They just mentioned buff to the bosses and penalties. But I know the penalties is to yourself or to the Colossus.
I highly doubt it. It's probably to yourself, just to make it more annoying. I'm not excited for it.
And then they moved to Season 4. We are going to get Season 4 in summer of 2026. And the main things they focus on was the Mega Dungeon, that might have a different name later, but they basically call it the Mega Dungeon, and a new mode called the Trial Mode. First, the Mega Dungeon. Basically, this dungeon is gonna have the last part of the story and the last final battle with Karel. So, when we get the Mega Dungeon and we beat the boss at the end of this, technically it should be Karel, we shall finish the story. At least the main story right now.
No, that's good. That's good. Because I honestly think a way for them to get out of this terrible situation that they're in is to just end the boring story of Karel and make something better. Make something way better.
Yeah, speaking of that, they said, and well, specifically the dungeon, they said wanted to do something that have more immersion and better visuals than before. So I'm hoping that doesn't look like a rinse and reuse of everything else we have had. And people were concerned, oh, wait, if we are done with Karel, that means, are we done with the game? No. In the Q&A, they said, and they were going to start a new story, a new main story after this.
Yeah, they need to, like, pronto. They needed to, like, yesterday already. They need to end this, finish this, and really come up with something a lot better. Like, a lot better.
And the trial mode I mentioned before, in this mode, players will gain resources. They specifically said that, gain resources during a limited time. But Jason, the community manager, specifically said in this part of the video or the live stream, we are trying to provide the fun of selecting random abilities.
That's in the dungeon? The big dungeon with Karel?
In the trial mode.
In the trials. Oh, it's like Mortis Trials.
I wonder if we are going to be able to select abilities that are not even part of our Descendant kit. Or like
it sounds a lot like Dark Tide Mortis Trials to me.
Yeah, maybe something like that. And also, they mentioned a new type of content they were developing, but it's in early stages, so they wanted to elaborate, where basically the player can become a Colossus.
Oh, I already can just see. I know there has been a lot of people. I've seen it. It's not just an opinion. I've seen it in the forums. I've seen it in comments. I've seen it all over the place. I can see that annoying so many people. Well, maybe it won't because of how it's done, but I know a lot of players in this game. No, I don't want PvP. If they want PvP, go to something else. Go play. I don't want to play PvP. So they don't want to see it. Well, I'll tell you, that's me. I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm speaking for myself. The reason we had so many hours in Destiny, half of those hours at least were in Gambit and Crucible and Iron Banner and you know, all those modes. So I like PvP, not as much as I used to, but I still like PvP. So I think this is more interesting to me because I want to play a Colossus. But you know, I guess it's a way to do it without completely making the people that don't like PvP cry to death. Because if you, I mean, I don't know how you'd even balance something like that, right? How would you balance picking a Descendant, and having Serena fly above everybody and take them out in 2 seconds? Yeah. So I don't know how you would balance something like that. I don't think it's really possible at this point. So this is a way for them to introduce some PvP, kind of like a Gambit, you know, where one invader would come through and you try to take them out. So This idea I can get behind. I kind of like this idea. I think it could be cool, but I also think it could be terrible. It depends on how well they execute it.
Yeah, what worries me when I heard this in the live stream, the only thing I could think of was in Left 4 Dead, there is this mode where you can play the zombie against the humans, and it's kind of PvP, but it's kind of like a second thought
Yeah,
PvP for
but
me.
this is better. This think about it. If you get to play the Colossus and you got these little descendants moving around, I think they definitely should add crush damage. Like if I step on you, you're dead.
Yeah.
I should be able to like control the arms and SWAT. And if Serena's flying around, I could just grab her out of the air and throw her off the map or smash her in my hands. Like that could be cool, but I highly doubt they're gonna give you that. But it would be really cool if you could. Ending the story with Krell, I'm a little interested just because I want to see it end. I want to see it end, and then hopefully they can do something better. The Trials is somewhat interesting, and then the Colossus thing is what I'm most interested in. So I think just those three things together, I think could make or break not the game and the future of the game, but whether people believe that you can change this and turn this around. I think that is a big turning point, like a big point for them, and hopefully they can do it right.
One thing the community manager Jason said was if he had to talk about the main problem with their game, it was probably that they don't have a lot to do.
No, I mean we talked about this already. They don't have these big expansions. They have these sometimes bigger monthly updates, sometimes smaller ones depending on whether it's a season or not, but it's a lot of exactly the same. So if you're really into the game, you've spent thousands of dollars in the game, you're probably going to keep playing even if it's the same thing. There's no variation to it. It feels exactly the same. So even if they do have the content, they don't at the same time.
In the last part of the live stream before they moved into the Q&A, the live Q&A they were talking about throughout the entire live stream, they wanted to address the rework and rebalance they have done to the most recent Descendants, specifically the Sharon's rework and how the community was disappointed after the rework they did to her. They actually acknowledge they didn't do the right thing with her. They even mentioned that having to use the third skill first, then the second, then the fourth, didn't feel good enough with the gameplay mechanics. And they wanted to, I don't know fully, but they wanted to step away a tiny bit of the build-up mechanic.
Sharon, I was okay with it the first time around. It was better the second time around. And honestly, the reason I was okay with it is because I just don't care. I just did not care at all. I did not care. Whatever. It was different. I think having to use skills in a certain order, it doesn't always feel good. Daya is an exception. I think Daya's gameplay and how you have to use her and not just spam Q or whatever works really well in the game. I think it works sometimes, but it doesn't work all the time.
After addressing Sharon's rework and concerns, they specifically focus on Serena, how they know she's still a hot topic, and they also apologize for indirectly buffing Serena through the King's Guard lens. It wasn't intentional, but didn't say anything about, like, they didn't elaborate more. They just say that wasn't supposed to happen, sorry happened, we will do better in the future, basically.
I mean, that's like 2 out of 3, right? They did that with Glade too. With the Blood and Iron, they busted that build, and you said they don't want to nerf unless it's necessary.
Yeah.
So my big question here, and I think this is a large part of where their problem came from, in the beginning, the game, we were not this strong. And then I think where it kind of started was Freyna. I think when they gave Freyna that contagion thing and you were able to just throw your talks and do the public, like the Albion defense missions and stuff, I think it started there. And then Serena came out and was just busted and keeps getting more busted, and they refuse to do anything to her. But not Sharon, Ines was really good, and they nerfed her. They nerfed her really hard. You can argue until you're blue in the face. I don't care at all. They nerfed her cooldown. They nerfed how her Q goes through walls and stuff like that. Maybe it should have never went through walls, but it was that way from the beginning. So Don't punish me because you screwed up. I do not get, for the life of me, why it is easier for them to not nerf Serena a little bit, but in their mind, it's more efficient for them to try to buff everybody else. I think that's the dumbest thing. It's absolutely asinine that they're doing that. I just don't get it. Nerf her. People are gonna cry. So what? It's your game. Your game's already TFDead. So who cares? I would just do it. Just do it. I think it's so stupid. There'll be somebody that has a defense for it. I don't care. I think that's a huge problem, and we're buffing all these Descendants, and now the game got way out of control. I'm scared to nerf Serena because I'm scared that these are the players that are buying all our skins, and if we do that, they're not gonna buy our skins, and then we're gonna really be TFDead. I mean, your game is barely on life support. I think it's so stupid. It's so dumb. Just nerf her a little bit instead of buffing everybody else. You're making way more work for themselves.
Yeah, the chat was going a bit crazy. Of course, there were some people defending, but majority of the people were screaming, "Nerf Serena, nerf Serena, nerf Serena," and I can tell that the Dead team wasn't comfortable reading that, and then specifically they said they didn't want it to nerf Descendants, but then they did that to Ines. So I don't understand that. I don't know. I feel like they're being biased just with Serena, and everybody else, they don't mind rebalance it. So for the health of the game,
I think they can see what players are using most and how much money they're spending on the game, and I really think that the people that are using Serena are just dropping thousands of dollars on the game, and they know if they do that, we lose our ATM machine. I think that's the problem. I that's just a wild guess, and I probably isn't true, but that's what I think, because I just cannot for the life of me figure out why you didn't do this now. And the longer they wait, the worse it's going to be. You should have done this right away. Right away it should have happened.
They keep saying how they want to bring all the Descendants to the same level than Serena instead of nerfing her. We have said that many times.
Yeah, but they're not. They're still not.
I know, but it's even worse because they talk about how by doing that, by boosting all the other Descendants to closer to what Serena is, they are going to make the content, specifically the endgame content, too easy. They even compare the action planes with the 400% missions.
I honestly don't care, though. I don't care if you buff or nerf Serena. I do not care. But it's annoying that they make, and I think this is kind of their problem too. She's so strong, and they're buffing all the Descendants that everything you're fighting against is really, really strong. But then Serena can fly through something in 2 to 4 minutes. And I'm just using Jaybird as an example, and I know he's kind of memey, but still, I mean, it's almost not even fun trying to do content with a Descendant like that, or even a mid-level one, just because of how long it takes. And the game is all about speed at this point. How fast can I do this boring thing to get this useless thing to craft this useless weapon? I mean, that's basically what it is. So you have to use Serena because it's fast, or you have to use a top-tier Descendant because it's fast. And I know not all the Descendants are going to be equal. I'm not asking for that. I'm just saying that making all this content super, super tanky and do a lot of damage makes it hard if you're not using, one of those 3, 4, 5 Descendants at the top or whatever. I think they have a problem.
And speaking of nerfs and buffs, next in the list of who's going to get a rebalance is Harris, and they even mentioned Bunny and Viesa. And to wrap up this live stream, they gave us a sneak peek on the new Descendant, Raven. It was just like a concept art with her, and also another picture for Ultimate SMO. Basically, they talk about the same thing we have been talking about for months and almost years in this channel. And the games have issues retaining the player base. The player base is what is keeping the game alive, so even the CEO from Nexon doesn't think the game is doing well. That's a confirmation. And they are trying to implement better gameplay loop, farming rewards.
They're trying to stop TFDead. They're trying to stop TFDead.
They're starting to stop the bleeding.
Who's that guy? There's a guy. Someone's going to love that. This
yeah,
is every video. Yeah. TFDead. TFDead. Yes. He's in the chat. TFDead. TFDead. The forums. TFDead. TFDead. Everywhere. Is it TFDead? Not
Yes.
yet.
Not
Not
yet,
yet, but
almost there.
It's TFDead, but it's not did yet. It's just TFDead.
What they have to do, and I don't know how they can do it because I really have no clue how they will do it, is introduce for real new mechanics, for real new dungeons, brand new modes, things that we don't have in the game yet that are completely different to what we have. I don't want to see the VP 2.0. I don't want to see the same Colossus with a different skin on. I'm tired of the same type of content.
I think just if they end this Corel story, I think if just coming up with something even medium, a medium engaging story that you kind of care about. So every time they do a big update for the season and then continue to elaborate on it, but you want to see it, I think that would help a lot too. But, I don't know. Based off what they did the first time around, I'm not so sure they can do better.
So let us know down in the comments how you feel about what they talked and what are the future plans. And thank you so much for watching.